Hello everyone, hope you're having an excellent day today. I'm doing pretty good. In this video, we're going to be starting another 12-hour build challenge. Let's go ahead and get started. I picked a cool slate of sci-fi Lego themes for this week's poll, and it was very close. I actually had to tabulate the results to make sure I wasn't miscalculating anything. But in the end, Rock Raiders won with a pretty healthy margin, mostly because of everyone voting on YouTube. There's over 700 votes on that poll alone. Really kind of dominated the other ones. So Rock Raiders is the winning theme this week, and that's what we'll be building, but I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing more of Spyrius and Classic Space in the future at some point. I've got some ideas, but let's go ahead and sketch it out. Thankfully, I'm pretty familiar making Rock Raider MOCs. I actually was working on a giant Rock Raider scene at one point. Eventually had to stop because it ended up being too heavy to move, kind of dangerous to move, honestly. Pretty comfortable building underground caves, geodes, even Rock Raiders vehicles, always had fun with that. So this will be kind of making a miniaturized version of that in a way, but I think I'm going to lean a lot more towards gray instead of black because all my black pieces are in Tron. There's a couple things I also didn't get to accomplish in that big Rock Raiders scene, one of which was a Rock Raiders mech, MOC. You have the Granite Grinder set, which is fun, but I didn't get to make my own mech, and I had a couple ideas there, so I'd love to execute that. I also didn't get a chance to build a rock monster or slimy slug or any of the other alien creatures you would see on Planet U with the Rock Raiders. And I don't think I can do both. I think I can do either the mech or the rock monster, and I think the mech is going to be more integral to the story of the Rock Raiders. It's really vehicle-based with all the sets and the theme. So I think I'm going to go for that, although I hope I can circle back at some point in the future and make some rock monsters. Something like this is what I had envisioned. You have the mech front and center with the backdrop of a lot of rock work. In this case, probably mostly studs not on top rock work. We've done a lot of upright building in this series with previous landscapes, and even the pirate build was mostly upright. There's going to be more pieces on their side, which should be pretty dynamic looking. On the right side, I want a sizable geode, probably trans neon green, because that was the classic energy crystal color. Over on the left, I want an entrance tunnel, possibly man-made versus an actual cave tunnel. So the Rock Raiders found a way to get to all the crystals that are in this geode. Couple Rock Raiders figures around the area mining. There's going to be different colored rocks, so mostly dark gray, but some light gray, some nougats, maybe even dark orange, dark tan, reddish brown, some colors mixed in. So you get a bunch of different earth types. I think it'll look good. The challenge will be to make a convincing landscape and a mech. That's like, typically I would make either a mech or a landscape. Doing both in one scene could be a little bit taxing on our time. We'll see if I'm able to accomplish that though. But I think this is a good enough sketch to work on. Basic idea accomplished. The rock work will be very organically forming, so it might not be the exact same shape, but at least we have the core concept. 3 main objectives, a couple details like figures and colors. Let's get started. All right, update number 1. We've spent a little over an hour working on the build. We started around 11, and we've got a nice front edge of rock work here. Got a couple different colors happening, which is exactly what I wanted. A big feature of dark gray here, quite a bit of light gray on this right side here, mixed with some dark tan, which I think is a nice color combination there. Subtle, but nice. Over here we have a little less finished. We're gonna hopefully wrap some more dark gray, and I'm hoping to mix maybe some dark orange and nougat in there as well, and have some reddish brown somewhere mixed in there as well. Maybe not tan, that's probably a little too far away on the color chart for me, but definitely some earth tones happening here. Once we've got this terrain built up, we'll work on a nice geode here, and maybe have time for a mech. The mech would be the #1 goal, but if we really run out of time, we could scrap together a rock monster instead. That'll probably take less time. So we'll see how we're doing. An hour in, a couple more hours to go. Progress looks good so far though. Want this to be as detailed as possible because this is the front edge of the rockwork that people will see and remember. They're not gonna see the stuff that's behind the mech or the characters here. So trying to make this look as nice as possible. Okay, update number 2. We've got a filled out landscape, got a layer of a couple different bricks happening on the back and the middle area of the MOC. Over here we've got a bunch of dark gray, some larger slopes, making this side of the creation. And we've got a bit of a half and half situation happening here. So a lot of dark gray over here, a lot of light gray over here, not a lot of mix in between. I want it more balanced throughout the whole scene, so I'm going to try to integrate some more light gray up here in this area of the build and some more dark gray over here to kind of flip-flop a little bit so it's more balanced. Would also like to see some more orange, like dark orange, nougat, those type of color schemes. Maybe kind of leaning towards this side, maybe some strata going on, some geological concepts being presented on this side since this is just an entryway, nothing too fancy. Over here, I'm going to have to start working on a geode, which could be pretty challenging, but I think if I keep it pretty small, it'll be okay. That's probably what I'm going to work on next just because that's kind of high priority for this scene. Once that's accomplished, we can fill out this wall with some dark gray and start moving over that direction. But I'm going to take a quick lunch break because this is now a little after 1, building for about 2 hours. Not too bad. I'd like to be a little faster though, so we'll see if I can pick up the pace after some food. All right, everyone, we are back with another update. We've got quite a bit of progress done on the back now. Not maybe as much as I'd like, but still, we're chugging away at it. We've got a nice geode over here on the right. Looks pretty much exactly as I predicted. Maybe a little bit on the small side, but I don't want to go too big. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. We've got some dark gray starting to form up here to break up all that light gray. That's good. Kind of a nasty little angle right here we need to fix, maybe have some snot bricks coming out on this side. And it's a very flat wall, and this will be a very flat wall too. That could be seen as quite a problem if we're trying to make an organic wall. However, that smooth surface should be perfect for affixing some rock chunks to using these pins. It's one of my favorite techniques to kind of put things at an angle, really shift up the amount of slopes and angles and perspectives you can achieve with the basic bricks. So I think it'll look really good. And you got the mixture of colors. Trying to kind of maintain a strata while doing slopes and angles is very complicated, but I think it'll really pay off. Kind of like how we went the extra mile with some of this rock work down here. Same process over here. This is a drilled / bored out tunnel that the rock creators have made in order to access these energy crystals. So this may interrupt the flow of the natural stone going horizontal. We'll see how I want that all to kind of mix together and integrate with each other. Over here, now, I know what you're thinking. This looks awfully similar to a rock piece that I had on the pirate MOC. I know, it's exactly the same basically, but it looks so good right there. It fits that spot. I love this slope piece. This is actually a single slope, not 2 pieces put together. I'm gonna put it there for now. see if anyone notices. They probably will. I can't not do it, guys. It looks great. Gonna have to fix a few little odd spots right here too, kind of like over here. I think I can do it. Just kind of rework a few spots. Once that's all done and that terrain is all filled in, I'm guessing it'll be a few more hours, we can actually start working on some rock graders, fill in some crystals, have some rubble and terrain on the ground, and make a little mech to go in the middle. I don't know if it's actually going to be technically feasibly small enough to fit through the tunnel. It might just be imagination. It might be a little bit bigger. We'll see. Depends on how much time we have left. Speaking of time, the day has really gone by. We're a little past 3:30, and that's because it took basically a little bit over an hour lunch break, but during that time, I paused the timer for 12 hours. So this is gonna be more like a 13-hour build technically because it took an hour lunch break. I haven't done that on any other video before, but I'm doing it now because I wanna make sure I have enough time to consume enough calories to get this done. I easily burn through 3,000 to 4,000 calories on a day like this when we're building this much. I'm focusing, spending that much energy thinking. So I'm making sure I have enough time to cook and eat a nice meal. I'll feel better. The build will hopefully turn out better too. But that means we have about 8.5 hours till midnight, which is our new ending time. So still a good amount of time to build. And hopefully you should be able to do this theme and this mock some real justice and have a really good final product. That's enough of me yapping though. Let's finish the rest of this build. All right, another update. We've got some significant chunks added to the build. Got a couple kind of angular pieces here and there. We got spaces for more, probably soon. Got a giant one up here, which is actually very impressive from a minifigures view. We basically inverted this chunk of brick, so we're using all these big slopes as inverted slopes, and it's also on a nice angle leaning back, so looks pretty unique. Hopefully it doesn't stick out too much, but given that we've got some other rocky chunks happening here, big boulders here, chunks here, hopefully it makes sense. It's too much work invested to undo anything. I think it'll work. This is kind of crazy rock work, okay? If this is rock raiders, you gotta go kind of crazy, right? But yeah, I'm liking it overall. The time isn't great. It's a little after 6:20, just finished about a 15-minute dinner break. Much quicker than lunch. Steven was able to make dinner, so I was able to just eat and get back to building. A little less than half of our time remaining, which means we need to finish up some inside angular rock chunks here, finish off this side as well. This side, I was thinking about putting some rock speed, a little bit of light gray to help balance it out a little bit. I'll keep messing with it, see if I can refine it at all, but overall, I think it'll be just crazy enough to work. Given that we only have less than half of our time left and we still have big chunks of landscape to finish, I'm worried about the central focus here, whether it be a mech, a rock monster, or nothing at all. We might have to just kind of make do with a bunch of rock raiders finding a geode. We'll see. I'd love to get at least something built and put in the middle, kind of like as we intended in our original sketch over there. So let's keep building, finish up this landscape nice and strong, and see if we can get something cool put in the middle of it. All right, a little bit more time has passed, but that's looking pretty rock solid to me. We've got big chunk over here, some reddish browns and nougats, layers, strata happening. Got a big chunk right here, a little bit of light gray. Some new additions in that corner and the very bottom edge right there, now filled out. Got the original front that we had shaped out initially. Side still looking good. A little bit like choppy here, but I think it makes sense. Like the light gray is smaller, more brittle, chalky, and then the gray is a little bit more sleek and bigger chunks of rock. You also got the gray above the geode area right here. Pretty well fleshed out. It's not ideal right in there, but that's technically inside the MOC. This is the main view. You shouldn't be looking at that if you're looking at the main areas of the creation. So I think the landscape is pretty much good to go. There could be a little refinement here and there, but this is the essentials. The landscape is done. Don't look at the back, but yeah, the landscape is pretty good to go. We've left a little area right here for some nice bright lights for our geode, which is actually what we're going to work on next, I believe. I'm still wanting to do something big in the center to catch attention and be the featured element of this scene. But geode is essential. That's still part of the background. Gonna fill it with crystals, shouldn't be that difficult. And some trans neon green pieces in there. Install a nice little light, and then the landscape will be ready to go. And I could just throw a few figures in there and call it a night. We still have some time left. It is about 7:45 this evening. It's been a long day. I'm running out of steam, so I'm worried that even though I have a couple more hours left, I think it's just over 4. I don't think I can get a nice big solid looking mech done in that time. I want to make sure the thing that's featured is really well done. However, I think I can make a rock monster in that time pretty effectively, and that would still be a pretty cool thing to feature. Like you could have some rock raiders fighting the rock monster with some laser guns, and then one rock raider being held in the air or about to be hurled. That would be a pretty interesting, chaotic, dramatic element to this scene. The only thing is we have to make sure the rock monster doesn't blend in too much. Some big red eyes should do that, a nice pose. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think that's what I'm gonna end up going for. I would have liked to make a mech, but you know, this is why what we have to do in these time constraints. If I had another day, sure, I'd make the mech tomorrow, but we only have a certain amount of hours left, so we'll work on that next after we finish a nice geode and get some lights in there. Side note, I took a quick break during build time, fired up manic miners in order to get a closer look at the rock monster. I know what they look like in general, but I wanted to make sure I got the details of his face correct. Well, here we have a completed Rock Raiders scene. I've chosen to show it without the lights at first so you can hopefully see some of the details. We'll turn those on shortly. We've got the giant rock monster. He's kind of blending in a little bit, but I can explain this away with lore because this creature should be perfectly suited to its environment and therefore it should blend in with all the rocks. That's the idea. But like we said earlier, those red eyes are very noticeable. So yes, the creature blends in. Red eyes, you can see them a mile away. They are about as bright as it gets. And I'm pretty happy with the shape of the rock monster for a short period of time. I think it was maybe not even 30 minutes, 40 minutes that was whipped together. I don't think I would have had time for a mech, so I think it's a good idea that we pivoted and decided to make that instead. I'd rather have a rock monster that I was very happy with versus an unfinished mech that I would have to scrap and leave a void in the middle of our scene. We've got the Rock Raiders trying to get the energy crystals and drawing their laser guns to try and save Bandit, who has been snatched up and being observed by the monster. It's worth mentioning the eyes and the blue light from inside the crystal cavern are a little bit vivid on the camera. They look a lot better in person. With a human eye, it's better able to adapt to those really extreme colors. As far as problems with this build, the rockwork is a little chaotic, but that's kind of the point. I wonder how many people are going to call me out on this big slope here. I was actually looking at the pirate scene just a second ago, since I have them all together. And it's only half of one of those big slopes. So still a big slope in the exact same position, but half as noticeable as the one on Rock Raiders. Maybe that's my new calling card. It's just have a big old slope right there. I don't think that's a problem. It's just like, oh yeah, you're getting into a pattern there, Mark. The geode's nice, I like that. The monster blends in a little bit, not too bad. There's some rough areas. Maybe I could patch up with a few tiles or slopes up there. But overall, pretty nice. Pretty happy with this build. And we did pretty good on time. It's now 10:26. We started at 11, had an hour lunch break where we paused the timer. So we had about an hour and 45 minutes left from now. And that's pretty good use of our 12 hours. This scene is pretty sturdy, so it should be making it to Atlanta BrickCon in a couple of months. So keep an eye out for that if you're able to attend the show. And if I'm not mistaken, this video should be airing just a day or two after Christmas. So late Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. Hope you got to spend some time with family and friends and maybe a little bit of Lego. But I think that's about it for today, everyone. Thanks a bunch for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member for 99 cents a month. I post daily updates over there. Lots of behind the scenes stuff. Take care, everyone. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.